when I use a word diagnosis for you, I'm using this sort of metaphoric way, as an analogy, all right? So when a person, again, it's a very short story. Imagine a situation that somebody walks into your office, and you are a general practitioner, doctor, medical doctor. A person walks in, or let's say you're a tuberculosis expert. A person walks in, coughing, has a sweating, has a high fever, and he comes in and said, "Hey doctor, I have tuberculosis. Give me 50 milligrams of penicillin." What would you do?
Ya, umpamanya ada seorang yang dengan panas tinggi, kemudian batuk dan sebagainya, kemudian dia langsung minta kepada kita sebagai seorang dokter minta 50 mg penisilin. Apa yang harus kita lakukan?
Would you prescribe him penicillin and say, "Okay, since you have tuberculosis, take this, go home"? Would you do this? No, you wouldn't. Right? You would say, hold on. I need to diagnose you. We need to run some tests. I need to understand your problems and etc. You need an X-ray, you need this or that before I prescribe you the medication.
Ya, jadi Marek ini mau coba mengklarifikasi. Tadi kan dia memberikan tahu bahwa kita perlu melakukan diagnosa. Istilah diagnosa yang dilakukan di sini adalah diagnosa dalam bentuk metafora. Jadi analogi. Jadi artinya seperti tadi, kalau ada orang batuk, kemudian dia panas, kemudian dia minta resep penicillin 50 mg, langsung nggak dikasih resep, kan tidak. Harus dilakukan suatu pemeriksaan lanjutan. Nah, seperti itu yang diharapkan oleh dia bagi kita, kepada kita untuk pasien-pasien kita.
So no, the doctor needs to make a diagnosis, needs to understand. So, but this is an analogy. It's a metaphor. You do the same. Let's go back to this woman. She may have said, if I had another baby, I will not use drugs again because this will, heal me and etc. So I want to have another baby.
Ya, sebagai contoh seperti si Mela kemarin, dia bilang kalau nanti saya punya bayi lagi, saya tidak akan pakai narkoba lagi ya, karena itu membahayakan dan sebagainya.
Should you follow her desire and help her to have another baby?
Apakah kita harus mengikuti dia, mendorong dia mengikuti keinginannya untuk memiliki bayi lagi?
It's more than not necessary. The answer is no.
Jawabannya bukan tidak perlu, tapi jangan.
The answer is no. It's a simple answer. No, you do not. Your role again. I'm using this as an example, but it's the same story like with the patient who's coughing, who has clearly tuberculosis. I come here, I want a pill from you, give me the pill. And you, as a doctor, as a medical doctor, you say, no, I won't give you the pill right now. Maybe, after we do the diagnosis and you determine that this is what it is, we'll give you the pill. So the same answer applies pretty much every time. No, you not jump into her having a baby and helping her to have the baby right away.
Jadi analoginya sama seperti tadi pasien yang batuk panas dan minta resep penicillin tadi, kan kita langsung bilang tidak ya, jangan, bukan tidak harus, tidak perlu, tapi jangan, ya, harus dilakukan dulu pemeriksaan lebih jauh gitu.
You try to understand what really causes. We know that she's opiate dependent, right? But there are other things that needs to happen in her life in order to maintain progress, in order to maintain abstinence, in order to be ready for family, for another child. And these things are not for you to determine, but for you, you're not making decisions about them, but you learning and then maybe recommending, maybe your recommendation at the end will be, or maybe this is the outcome that's going to happen, but it's not going to be your recommendation, it's going to be her decision based on good decision-making skills that you're going to help her acquire or improve.
Ya, jadi kita harus melakukan pemeriksaan dulu lebih seksama sebelum kita membuat suatu resep lah katanya, apa yang harus dilakukan ya. Bukan berarti kita mengambil keputusan bagi dia. Mungkin saja dari hasil pemeriksaan nanti kita membuat rekomendasi, tapi mungkin tidak selalu harus. Tapi sekali lagi kita tidak mengambil keputusan bagi pasien.
So for this patient, my patient, I treated him accordingly with DDRC. He made actually pretty good progress. He did maintain abstinence, and after a few sessions I said, I think you guys, you you're ready to go and deal with your marital problem. After, So I didn't do this. I didn't say, okay, now bring your wife, we can deal with this. No, I said, go, finally. I told him where to go and deal with the marital problem, with the emotional trauma or whatever he had. I did my work.
Jadi kembali pada pasiennya si Marek yang suami istri tadi, Marek secara ketat hanya melakukan mediasi dengan suaminya saja, dan dia menunjukkan perubahan perilaku yang progresif ya, yang baik. Kemudian setelah sekian waktu sesi, Marek membuat semacam rekomendasi ya, kalau sekarang Anda mau menemui terapi pasangan marital, silahkan pergi. Tapi Marek tidak melakukannya oleh diri Marek sendiri. Jadi dia meminta supaya mereka itu pergi mencari pertolongan kepada orang lain.
So what I'm trying to say that there's this natural tendency in counselors that they have to do something right away. They have to be instantly responsive. That this is your responsibility because the patient is coming. I have to start healing them from the second minute I start talking. There has to be a healing intervention. And the answer to this is no.
Kecenderungannya para konselor adalah selalu ingin menolong mengatasi persoalannya pasien saat itu juga. Dan jawabannya adalah jangan lakukan itu.
You need to understand. This is what I meant by diagnosis. You need to know what's going on in her life. You need details. You need details. You need details. Because based on that, you're going to develop a course of treatment, a course of behavioral changes, a course of learning and understanding that will help her maintain, acquire recovery or maintain recovery, and ultimately it may end up in her getting another child, but this is nothing to do with you. It's her own decision.
Ya, jadi itu yang dimaksud oleh Marek sebagai membuat diagnosa. Artinya membuat semacam rangkaian pertemuan-pertemuan pemeriksaan lebih lanjut untuk mengetahui dengan jelas apa sih sebenarnya terjadi pada diri pasien. Kemudian mengembangkan rencana-rencana tindakan, rencana terapi, mengembangkan rangkaian rencana lah ya. Dan kemudian kita mengikuti sampai sejauh mana itu bisa berlangsung. Kalaupun nanti ada sesuatu hal yang berjalan tidak sesuai rencana, bukan kesalahan kita.
Yes.
What if our patient on the next station, the patient comes to us and instead of lying, he said, I didn't do what you asked me to do.
Absolutely.
I don't care.
Yes.
It's useless.
Yes.
What should we say?
Yeah.
Gimana
will happen.
Gimana kalau pasien datang ke kita dia langsung ngomong, saya nggak ngelakuin itu apa yang kamu minta, gitu ya?
Yes. So look, I'm going to give you examples of contracts now. No, not every single contract is a contract.
Dan tidak semua, nanti kan diberi contoh mengenai masalah kontrak, tidak semua kontrak itu memang tercapai, benar-benar dilakukan, tidak.
All right, so let's see this. So I had the illustration of two things. One real example. I was trying to find an example. So I had a patient. I was working on the first contract with this particular patient at the first session. So and we worked out the plan for the next session for him in order to be on time. There was a sequence of events starting with him getting to the bus stop and catching J line, a specific bus, so he can get to the downtown New Haven on time. He had to switch the bus, come to the clinic, and get medicated, and then come to see me.
Ya, ini adalah satu contoh. Ada pasiennya Marek yang pada sesi yang pertama itu membuat kontrak perilaku, yaitu untuk datang pada sesi yang berikutnya dengan menetapkan bahwa dimulai dari dia menunggu bis kalau di sini koridor kali ya, koridor Blok M atau koridor 3 atau 1, di sana yang namanya J line itu tadi, kemudian diikuti dengan perilaku lain sebelum sampai kepada klinik.
And it was all, very clearly specified, we agreed, and everything was fine. And the patient did not show up on time next week.
Ya, semua ditulis sampai rinci kontrak perilakunya itu, tetapi pada saat hari hanya pada sesi berikutnya dia tidak datang tepat waktu.
And then we have an assistant that when the patient doesn't show up, we have research assistant following them. So they reschedule, and he showed up for the next appointment. So we're talking what happened.
Ya, jadi di sana ada suatu sistem di mana kalau ada orang yang tidak on time, tidak tepat waktu, ada asisten riset, asisten peneliti yang mencoba untuk membuat hitungan ulang ya, jadwal ulang.
And I'm reviewing the contract step by step. So did you set the alarm? Or like he said yes. I set the alarm. So tell me from the beginning. Set the alarm. Everything. I was ready to go. I took the J bus. I went downtown New Haven. I was standing there. The other bus, the second bus I was supposed to catch was a little bit late. But I was waiting for the bus.
Ya, kemudian setelah ada kesempatan berikutnya, Marek mereview itu satu demi satu kontrak perilaku itu. Apakah kamu pasang alarm? Ya. Kemudian apakah kamu sampai kepada bis stop shelter yang ada untuk bis J-Line tadi atau koridor itu tadi? Ya. Tapi ketika saya menunggu, bisnya datang terlambat.
And then as I was waiting for the second bus, a friend of mine drove by in his car, and he saw me. He stopped, opened the window, and said, "Do you want a ride? Come and get in. I'll give you a ride to the clinic."
Waktu saya nunggu bis yang kedua, ternyata ada teman saya lewat bawa mobil, dan dia buka kaca dan dia bilang mau nebeng nggak gitu. Dan saya ikut teman saya.
So I opened the door, I went into the car, I was going to the car for him to get him the ride. And I was entering the car, I saw that on the passenger seat, he had a roach. Roach is a joint, it's a marijuana joint, sometimes laced with drugs. It's like a made cigarette. A joint, a marijuana joint laced with cocaine or other drugs. Was sitting right there because the other friend was a drug user.
Waktu saya buka pintu mobil teman saya itu mau duduk ke dalamnya, ternyata saya lihat pada di kursi penumpang ya ada rangkaian ganja bercampur dengan kokain dan sebagainya ya, tergeletak di situ.
And so anyway, make the story short, because it was there, I had to smoke it. I took it, and as we were riding, I had this joint, and then we started talking, and we decided to go somewhere else. This is how I didn't show up.
Karena saya nebeng sama dia dan teman saya itu juga ngisap ganja, jadi mau nggak mau ya saya ikutan dan kita akhirnya memutuskan untuk pergi ke tempat yang lain. Jadi makanya saya nggak nongol.
So you see, this was an incomplete contract, but I know exactly what happened. I had it very clear. So as he was telling me again, I'm going very fast, but I was giving him feedback. Oh great, so you remember, you set the alarm, you did this, and you waited, wanted to go. But then a friend comes by, and this whole thing falls apart.
Ya, jadi menyatakan pada kita bahwa ini adalah salah satu contoh di mana kontrak perilaku itu tidak dipenuhi ya. Karena semua dijalani, alarm dijalani, dia nunggu di bis sudah dijalani, tapi kemudian temannya datang, dan itu kacau jadinya semuanya.
So it looks to me like we need, in order to fulfill the contract, to fix this contract, there's certain things that work and certain things that don't work. And this is great. The things that work are very good, and it looks like you're motivated, but there's something that doesn't work. We need to fix this thing that doesn't work. And this thing is a refusal. Or what if next time a friend shows up and he offers you a ride?
Ya, di sini kita lihat bahwa bagusnya dengan mediasi ini adalah karena dia sangat detail. Kita lihat bahwa tidak semuanya dia gagal kan. Pada saat dia bangun, pasang alarm, kemudian nunggu dan sebagainya, dia jalani itu. Tapi harusnya dia pakai bis yang lain, dia nebeng teman. Sehingga Marek bilang bahwa kita harus membetulkan ini. Bagaimana nanti kalau ada lagi teman lewat terus ngajak kamu pergi lagi? Nah, kita harus kejar untuk ini.
And what do you tell them to not to offend them, but tell them how do you refuse a ride from a friend, close friend, without actually breaking a friendship or making it valuable or something like this? Let's practice it here right now.
Nah, kita harus mengatakan pada dia dengan cara yang tidak menyakitkan bahwa kita harus menolak tawaran teman dekat dan sebagainya, ya, dengan cara yang tidak bermusuhan, ya, supaya tidak kehilangan persahabatan itu.
And then, in this way, we developed an improved contract. They include similar sequence of events, plus a script, plus a new skill. What do you do if something like this happens? What do you do if the second bus is late? What type of alternatives? And you send him back with the improved contract. How to do the same? Let's see whether it works this time. So the new contract is the same contract, improved, and the goal is to come next week on time, not being late. Do not talk to friends and smoke a roach.
Nah, kemudian kita kerja sama dia mengembangkan suatu teknik yang baru, yaitu untuk menolak tawaran teman. Kemudian kita masukkan ke dalam kontrak yang baru lagi. Jadi kontrak yang lama tadi kita perbaiki, kita tambahkan. Kalau dia lagi nunggu mobil, bisnya datang terlambat, apa yang harus dilakukan? Kalau kemudian temannya lewat dan sebagainya, apa yang harus dilakukan? Jadi dia pulang ke rumah dengan kontrak yang sudah diperbarui. Dan kita akan review lagi minggu depan.
So the sequence, the contract, the idea behind the contract is, this approximation, small step. So you walking, you're hitting the wall. You're trying to come up, with a solution how you overcome the obstacle, and you're starting again, walking, and until you get to you're working on the same contract or on the same issue. You don't abandon it. You don't tell, okay, since this didn't work, let's work on your employment. No, you want the patient to experience success. There's a necessity. It's a requirement. They need to go, in order to go forward, they need to go forward with an improved plan until they can go forward.
Ya, jadi dalam pendekatan konseling ini kita tidak selalu berangkat pada suatu rangkaian ya. Makanya kenapa nggak boleh langsung di akhirnya saja, tapi kita mulai dari awal terus begitu. Jadi sesuatu hal yang simpel, yang sederhana yang harus kita perbaiki ya.
So this is a general principle that you want to you go and improve this contract until it works. And then if this contract works, then you do another activity, then you move on. If there's no longer problems with the patient showing up, remember, principle number one, in order for the medication to work, they need to take it. In order for you to be helpful, they need to come to the session. If they don't come to the session, there's no healing, no helping. So I worked with the patient until he started showing up, and he did eventually, right away.
Ya, ini pengalamannya Marek. Jadi sekali lagi kita harus ingat prinsip utama dari kontrak perilaku yang pertama dari mediasi ini adalah dia datang tepat waktu. Ya, kalau dia dengan seperti tadi dengan kontrak yang sudah diperbaiki dia datang sudah tepat waktu, lalu kita pindah kepada masalah yang lain. Sebelum dia datang tepat waktu kita tetap terus bekerja masalah itu.
The one thing that you never want to do is to accept an excuse. And understand, alright, so I understand, because this didn't work, there's some external circumstance, your excuse, let's try again the same thing. No, you don't want to keep trying the same thing. You don't want to pound the wall with the same fist several times. You do not.
Ya, jadi kita tidak membiarkan, jangan memberikan suatu penerimaan kalau itu terjadi lagi, kalau dia datang telat dan sebagainya. Jangan gunakan cara yang sama juga. Kita harus melakukan cara yang lain. Oleh karena itulah kontrak perilakunya tadi perlu diperbaharui ya.
If the contract doesn't work the first time, you do not abandon it. And then let's see maybe we can make progress in a different area. No, you do not that.
Ya, jadi kalau kontrak pertama tadi nggak bisa jalan, jangan terus dipindah sama sekali dengan kontrak yang baru sama sekali enggak. Tapi kita lihat di mana dia gagalnya, rangkaian yang mana dia gagal. Nah kita perbaiki di sini.
You make it easier and easier. You make the same contract easier and easier. So essentially, I am walking and I see a bar that is this high, and I cannot jump over. In order for me to jump over, what are you going to do? You're going to lower the bar.
Umpamanya Marek jalan, kemudian ada semacam penghalang ya di depan ya. Begitu tingginya dia tidak bisa loncat. Bagaimana cara supaya kita bisa loncat? Adalah dengan cara membuat penghalang tadi lebih rendah.
And then if it still doesn't work again, you lower the bar. You make it as low as possible so the patient can step over and move forward.
Nah, analoginya seperti itu. Jadi penghalang tadi kita buat makin rendah supaya si pasien bisa meloncatinya.
And then as he moves forward, you keep raising the bar essentially. And this is a very simple idea. You start making, so you start with very simple behavioral plans, but then they very quickly learn these are building blocks of larger goals, of recovery, of maintaining abstinence for a longer period of time, decision making, etc. But it has to start small. It has to start somewhere. they need success to move forward. They will not succeed with repeated failure.
Ya, jadi kalau nanti dia sudah maju, sudah ada kemajuan, ya nanti pengalamannya bisa ditinggiin lagi gitu. Tapi kalau enggak, ya tadi harus diturunin. Jadi kita harus melihat pada kegagalan-kegagalan dia untuk bisa memperbaiki tindakan di masa yang akan datang.
So your goal is to make it easier and easier and easier for them, so they can move forward very smoothly without interruptions.
Ya, jadi tujuan kita adalah membuat penghalang tadi lebih rendah lagi sampai pasiennya bisa melalui dengan lebih mudah sehingga tidak merasakan suatu hambatan.
And then as they're moving forward, you can expanding, broadening, making it more relevant, etc. But the first contact is really like so simplistic. Just come. I mean, not just come, but coming for the session is very simple, and many patients can succeed. But this is the first important success, and it's the first important modeling of structure, plan, behavior, and etc. It has multiple benefits.
Jadi kontak pertama itu sederhana sekali ya, yaitu membuat dia bisa datang tepat waktu sesuai janji. Itu saja dulu. Nanti kalau sudah bisa itu dijalani sama dia, sudah stabil dan sebagainya, baru kita isu yang lain yang kita bahas.
Any questions?
Is somehow we know that maybe in the conversation on the contract we found that he's lying. I mean, you say that we cannot confront with them, and we get not negative, we don't give any punishment. So, are we gonna ignore, or are we gonna something action to do?
Ignore lying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say yes. I mean, because we're running out of time, my best solution that I can say, do not be preoccupied with lying. It doesn't happen that often. It does not happen as often as you think. If it happens to you right now, it will be less and less happening if you adapt all the rules that I was teaching you for the past 3 days. Confidentiality, privacy, active listening, therapeutic alliance with the patient, setting the goals, explaining why, what, when. The lying will be less and less and less. No punishment, no negative consequence. Yes, if you punish them for lying, if you tell them, you're really bad, don't lie to me, because I will find out anyway, they will continue lying. But it is because because we're running out of time. Okay, it's not the complete answer, but because we're running out of time, I don't want to spend much more time on the issue of lying.
Okay.
You need to trust me.
Yeah.
You need to try it. I'm gonna come back to Jakarta in 2 months or so after you actually seen some patients, and then you will tell me how often it will happen to you that the patient will lie.
Yeah.
And if they still lie, I'll help you fix it.
Ya, jadi
Let's make it this deal.
Jadi tadi Ibu Kiki tanya, gimana gampangnya pada kontrak yang ke-7, udah detail itu, ternyata kita tahu bahwa dia bohong. Kita perlu cuekin nggak itu, kebohongan itu? Kata Marek, iya, harus dicuekin. Kenapa? Tolong kita jangan terokupasi, jangan terlalu terpaku bahwa mengenai masalah bohong ini. Kalau sekarang Bapak Ibu sering kali dibohongi, itu karena terjadi kita belum punya perangkat ya. Kalau Bapak Ibu nanti ngikutin aturan-aturan yang sudah dibuat di sini tadi, itu makin lama makin banyak kurang bohongnya. Tentu saja tidak serta-merta langsung hilang bohongnya ya sama sekali. Tolong jangan terlalu terpaku kepada persoalan bohong atau tidak bohong. Dalam 2 bulan lagi, Marek akan datang lagi setelah Bapak Ibu mendapatkan pengalaman pertama dengan pasien, dan coba nanti diceritakan banyak nggak itu mengalami kebohongan dan sebagainya. Kalau masih banyak, dia akan bantu.
So I'm gonna ask a question myself for you. A question that I'm always asked. So how do we pick the contract? What's the contract? Are you interested in the answer of this question? Is it puzzling for you? Is it a relevant question or not? In a situation like this, at this moment, counselors in training offer ask me, well, but how do we know what to pick and what to choose as a contract? What is a contract, or what's a good activity? Because you're asking me to make a decision. How do I pick the right contract or right decision.
Iya, jadi biasanya kan kita sebagai konselor yang lagi belajar nih, biasanya suka nanya, jadi bagaimana sih membuat kontrak yang baik ya?
You may be more advanced, so this may not be a problem for you, but I've been asked this question, so I'm going to answer this question myself. My own question, my own answer. So, if you look back at the people that we talked, the 4 people, and if at some point we asked them what do they want to do in the future, right? We asked them questions. What were the answers? Do you remember their answers about what needs to happen? What do they want? Who remembers? Get married.
Ya, jadi
have a baby.
Marek kan kemarin tanya ya pada pasien apa yang akan dilakukan di masa yang akan datang. Terus beberapa jawab mau menikah ya. Ada yang pengen tadi menikah, punya anak ya. Stop methadone.
Yeah, but yes. So, but there's a one. These are big goals. You know, getting married it's a big goal. So, people often, and especially drug users, when you ask them a question like this, they come with these ideas. They want you to help. They think that if they only get married, if they only get a job, if they only had a lot of money, if there only something like this happen, things will get better. If they have a baby, have a family or something, things will get better.
Seorang pecandu memang akan punya kecenderungan selalu seperti itu, bahwa dia datang dengan suatu tujuan yang besar ya, dan dia mengharapkan kita tuh betul-betul membantu dia. Nah, jadi dia berpikir bahwa kalau itu nanti tercapai, tujuan besar itu tercapai, semuanya akan jadi lebih mulus, lebih baik bagi dia.
So another example from my own practice. One of my patients comes in the first session. I ask him a question: what can I do for you? What do you think I should do? How can I help you in order to recover? I'm going to skip the context but anyway, I asked this question, and his true answer was, write me a check for $25,000.
Jadi pernah ya, Marek tuh mendapatkan suatu pasien yang datang kepada dia waktu Marek bilang apa yang bisa saya bantu dari Anda. Ini beneran nih dijawabnya sama pasiennya. Tolong deh tulisin saya cek seharga $21.000.
Yes, he wasn't joking. I mean, he was not a joke. He was serious. He said, the reason why I'm using drugs, my life is so miserable. I have no money. If you give me $25,000, everything will be fine, because then I can buy back my motorcycle, I can get back the license, I can live a normal life, etc. And he had a lot of good reasons why, things would change. If only somebody like me or somebody gave him $25,000, his recipe for recovery was $25,000.
Ya, jadi menurut si pasien ini kan kisah nyata ya. Jadi pasien tuh bilang bahwa hidup dia tuh nggak karu-karuan, dia nggak punya sama sekali uang dan sebagainya. Jadi kalau dokter memberikan saya uang $25.000, semuanya nanti akan menjadi beres.
Should I give him a check? Should I take
Haruskah
my check
kita
and write him a check
itu?
for $25,000? Why not?
Kenapa enggak ya?
Huh?
This is not solving.
Right, but why not? Why wouldn't it solve the
Kenapa
problem?
nggak menyelesaikan masalah?
Kita yang harus kita benerin itu yang mengenai rasanya.
Because the most important thing is how to deal with the dependence.
Yes, I would. Even if I wrote him a check for $25,000, I probably would have killed him, because he would have had so much money. He would have spent it on drugs within the next 2 weeks.
Ya, jadi kalau beneran tuh tadi kita buat ceknya ya $25.000 kepada dia, apa yang terjadi? Bisa saja kita membunuh dia karena dia dengan uang segitu banyak dia beli banyak.
And I see this example. Another patient comes in and we talk about the plans, and she's currently unemployed, homeless, using drugs, but all of a sudden she decided I want to be in recovery. She started methadone. She stopped using drugs for 2 days or so. Initially, she got excited. Oh, this is great! This is great! This is great! I think the next thing, I need a good job. So her plan was, I want to become a real estate agent, because real estate agent, people who sell houses in the United States, they make a lot of money.
Dan ini ada satu contoh yang lain dari seorang pasien perempuan. dia seorang tidak punya siapa-siapa, hidup juga di jalanan dan sebagainya. Suatu hari dia ikut metadon, baru beberapa hari dia ngerasa wah ini bagus nih ya. Kemudian dia datang kepada Marek dengan mengatakan bahwa saya pengen nanti kalau sudah oke menjadi seorang agen real estate ya, karena di sana agen real estate itu bisa punya uang banyak sekali.
She wanted me to help her to become a real estate agent very fast. So I could do it. Okay, great. This sounds like a great plan. Let's see, where they have certification. Maybe we can, come up with a contract. Tomorrow we're gonna find a, place where you get certified as a real estate agent, and then you go to the bank, get a loan, open an office, and etc. Right?
Ya, jadi
real estate agent in 5 days, and then next week you're going making $400,000 per week.
Ya, dia minta Marek untuk membantu dia menjadi seorang agen real estate dalam waktu singkat sekali ya. Dan Marek bisa saja membantu dengan meminta kamu punya sertifikat apa, di mana bisa dicari dan sebagainya ya. Karena itu tujuan utamanya dia memang menjadi cepat kaya ya.
No, we don't work on the big goals.
Tolong jangan dilakukan.
So the first, how do you find a contract? You find the area very small. Something that you almost certain that the patient can do and experience a small success, something that brings them forward toward the larger goal in life, but not getting married, etc.
Ya, jadi tolong jangan lakukan sekalipun Bapak Ibu bisa ya menolong dia untuk menjadi seorang agen real estate. Tolong jangan dilakukan, sebab itu selalu muluk-muluk ya. Kita mulai membantu dia untuk mencapai tujuan yang sederhana saja, yang bisa membuat dia melangkah lebih lanjut lagi dalam proses pemulihannya. Ingin menikah dan sebagainya itu tujuan yang terlalu berat, yang terlalu besar.
And if the area of if they are already coming there to treatment, there's no problem with compliance, attendance, etc. You move into drug use, okay? And you find a progress in this area. You want them to become abstinent for 1 day, for a week, or something. If they are already abstinent, you work on relapse prevention. If they are already abstinent from heroin but using other drugs, you work with them how they can reduce use of other drugs and etc. There's a sequence of things that has to happen. Coming to you, seeing you, number 1. Not using drugs, number 2.
Ya, jadi kita ingatkan kembali lagi bahwa BDRC itu dalam sesi-sesi pertama utamanya adalah membuat yang bersangkutan datang tepat waktu sesuai perjanjian. Nah, kemudian kalau ini sudah bisa diatasi, dia sudah datang dengan teratur dan sebagainya, silakan masuk ke yang nomor 2, yaitu masalah penggunaan narkobanya. Jadi masalah obat tidur dan sebagainya dibahas pada saat sesi-sesi berikutnya setelah dia rajin datang.
Having something to do with their free time, because you see the issue, what is going to happen. Imagine a situation: you have a magic pill, you give them the pill. They take the pill, they no longer want drugs. There's no such pill, but imagine, hypothetically, that you have a pill, you give it like this, you give it to them, like that. What happens?
Ya, umpamanya ini ada sebuah pil ajaib yang kita kasih kepada dia dengan kemudian secara instan, secara langsung, cepat membuat dia tidak lagi menggunakan narkoba. Kira-kira apa yang terjadi?
All of a sudden, they have all the time that they never had before. They don't have to run the street, they don't have to steal, they don't have to buy drugs, they don't have to do things that they are tired of and they don't want to do. Trust me, they do not want to do this. They have all the time, nothing to do. And they're just sitting there. And what next? What am I going to do next? You basically, by having this magic pill, you created a vacuum in their life, an emptiness.
Jadi dengan adanya pil ajaib ini tadi yang dia telan dan sebagainya membuat dia akhirnya menjadi lebih tenang, jadi tidak lagi menggunakan narkoba yang lain. Apa yang terjadi? Dia punya banyak waktu. Jadi pil ajaib ini membuat dia menjadi tidak tahu apa yang harus dia lakukan sebab waktunya jadi panjang kan, kemarin kan pendek-pendek tuh. Nah, waktunya jadi panjang.
And this emptiness is a powerful force. It's a vacuum. It sucks things inside. And what's going to happen after 2 days of doing nothing? They're going to get restless. They're going to go back to their friends. They're going to have to do something. And they're only going to do what they know what to do. And the only thing they know what to do is how to steal, how to get drugs, how to run away from the police, what to do with his friends. So I can guarantee you, if you created this type of vacuum, it's inevitable that sooner or later, rather sooner, everything that was in his life, it comes back, and they are back to square one, even with the magic pill.
Nah, waktu yang luang seperti ini, seperti sebuah vacuum cleaner gitu ya. Dia akan menyedot orang tersebut, karena dia akan bingung apa yang harus dilakukan. Selama ini yang dia tahu hanya bagaimana lari dari polisi, bagaimana mencuri, bagaimana membeli barang dan sebagainya. Sehingga kevakuman ini terus terang saja akan membuat yang bersangkutan dalam kondisi yang tidak stabil. Cepat atau lambat pasti akan jatuh, tapi kecenderungannya adalah cepat.
So taking the drugs away is half solution. It's an important part, but it's only half of the solution. In other, you want to do a true substitution, but not drug substitution. You want to do a behavioral substitution. You want to take the drugs away and give them something else.
Membuat dia berhenti itu hanya setengah dari upaya kita untuk pemulihan. Karena yang berikutnya adalah adanya pengganti perilaku. Karena selama ini dia nggak punya perilaku lain yang bisa mengisi di hari-harinya kecuali tadi ya, lari dari kejaran polisi, beli barang dan sebagainya. Oleh karena itulah membuat dia berhenti belum sepenuhnya menyelesaikan masalah, baru setengah.
So after they stop using drugs, you need to help them find an activity that is fun, that they like, that they want to engage, or whatever. You want them to replace one thing. At this point, you want to do substitution. You want to substitute drug-using behavior with a non-drug-using, fun, productive behavior that supports recovery and prolonged abstinence.
Ya, jadi tadi yang pertama kan adalah membuat dia datang tepat waktu. Yang kedua adalah mengenai masalah narkobanya. Kalau narkoba sudah diatasi, maka kita harus mengisi dengan membantu dia mencari aktivitas-aktivitas lain yang juga bisa menyenangkan, yang membuat dia merasa lebih produktif, untuk menggantikan perilaku-perilaku yang lama, untuk mengatasi kevakuman yang ditimbulkan karena kondisinya menjadi lebih stabil.
Now you're gonna ask me what behaviors, right?
Ya, perilaku apa nih yang sekarang yang perlu kita?
And I say, you're asking me, what do I know about life in Jakarta? I don't know anything about life in Jakarta.
Ya. Kalau ditanya pada Marek juga bingung karena Marek kan nggak tahu di Jakarta apa yang bisa dilakukan buat orang mengisi waktu luangnya.
Look around. Tell me what young people like this guy, or young people like this woman do. People who do not use drugs. What do they do?
Coba lihat sekeliling ya, orang yang seperti anak muda yang kemarin itu kira-kira apa sih yang biasanya mereka lakukan di sini?
How do they occupy themselves? You know, how they amuse themselves? Where do they find pleasure?
Hang out.
Hang out. No, people who do not use drugs. People who are happy.
Anak-anak yang nggak pakai, ya. Going to the mall, shopping center.
You see cultural differences. They want to the mall. It's different life, isn't it?
Yeah, if you spend your time here.
Okay, but seriously, yeah, going to the mall, yes, but maybe you were saying jogging, right? Running, having some active life, something.
Play music.
Play music, and developing a hobby.
Going to the gym.
Yes, exactly. You see, you know that. You know why? Because you are experts. You are experts in recovery. You are experts in not using drugs. You know what people need to do. Yeah, read a book, go to the movie, spend time with your family, find new friends. There's a range of activities, and depends. I cannot tell you go running because I don't know whether you like running. Maybe you don't like running. Maybe you like biking. Or maybe you like fishing, or chess playing, or whatever. You need to find out what's appropriate. But it will be so easy for you because you are an expert.
Ya, kita harus mencari hal apa yang paling tepat bagi orang tersebut ya. Dia juga harus mencari tahu apa yang paling tepat, apa main catur, apa nonton bioskop. Tapi kita tidak memberikan suatu saran bahwa contohnya kamu lari aja, belum tentu dia suka lari. Kamu apa mancing aja, belum tentu dia suka mancing. Jadi ibu dia mau bicara. They are not employed, they don't have any activities, specific activities, they just hang out usually.
No, drug users or people.
Ya kalau candu ya memang
hang out.
begitu, tapi ini dicari.
I have it. I have it on my slide somewhere.
Ini kita mencari alternatifnya.
You see that this is another cultural difference.
Ya, ini ada perbedaan kultur ya. Kalau di sana itu mengisi waktu luang memang ada lari, ya olahraga, baca buku, ke perpustakaan karena pustakanya bagus. Kita perpustakaan di mana kita jalan-jalan. Biasa kita perlu tempatnya ini, tempat ini, ya bisa kita membuat suatu memberi informasi nanti dia yang mengambil.
Well, anyway, I had it somewhere, but yes, exactly. The hanging out is the dominant feature everywhere in the United States. But we don't, no, one thing we don't want the hang out in the mall or hang out with your friends, especially with your old friends, is not an alternative activity. This is actually an activity of emptiness where you're hanging out, somebody comes by and carries drugs, or hey, why don't you, since you're hanging out, let's go to this club or let's go to this place. So hanging out is not an activity. It's inactivity.
Jadi Bapak Ibu sekalian, nongkrong atau hangout tadi, nongkrong atau jalan-jalan ke mall itu bukan suatu aktivitas. Itu adalah suatu aktivitas yang menunjukkan adanya kekosongan. Jadi kayak nggak ngerti mau ngelakuin apa. Jadi itu sebenarnya bukan alternatif.
Yes. So she's building the following argument that everybody is doing this. That a lot of people, young people, there's nothing to do in Jakarta, and everybody is hanging out. Even people who do not use drugs. Alright. People who do not use drugs, who never use drugs, who are not in recovery, they are not at risk of relapse. They can hang out as much as they want. The likelihood that while they're hanging out, somebody comes and said, I just scored a bunch of good heroin, do you want to try it? They most likely, that's not the trigger, not the problem, not going to happen. So, you see, the problem, people in recovery, who are not in recovery, they can afford doing nothing. Because they are fine.
Ya, oke. Jadi menurut Marek, tadi kan saya menjelaskan bahwa anak muda di Indonesia bahkan yang bukan pecandu juga kecenderungannya adalah nongkrong di mall dan sebagainya. Menurut Marek, kalau orang itu tidak dalam masa pemulihan, tidak dalam recovery, pergi ke mall dan sebagainya, walaupun dia tidak ngerti apa yang harus dilakukan, tidak menjadi pencetus untuk dia pakai. Tapi kalau orang yang dia pecandu, itu bisa menjadi pencetus.
People who are in recovery, they have to do something. They need to be proactive. They need to be active in preventing relapse.
Nah, jadi itu sebabnya ya, makanya rehab kalau nggak ada kegiatan itu susah. Seorang pecandu dalam masa pemulihannya adalah harus sibuk, harus melakukan sesuatu. Karena kalau tidak pasti jatuh lagi.
My son, who is 25 years old, is pretty young, pretty good shape. He can eat as much as he wants. He doesn't have to exercise. He can drink all night, and he's fine next day.
Ya, ini sebagai contoh anaknya Marek 25 tahun, yang namanya masih muda, badannya juga oke. Dia bisa makan sebanyak-banyaknya tanpa harus khawatir, tanpa harus melakukan olahraga, dan juga bisa minum ya, maksudnya minum bir dalam hal ini, dan besoknya tuh oke lagi gitu.
If I do this, I will die, or if I will be, completely out of shape. I have to exercise regularly. I have to control how much I eat. I cannot drink all night.
Ya, itu untuk memberikan suatu gambaran bahwa Marek berbeda. Marek kan udah lebih tua ya, sehingga kalau dia makan seenaknya aja tanpa ada olahraga dan sebagainya, dia bisa cepat mati.
So this is not a good argument that they do, because the patient who has diabetes cannot just, take insulin injection and at the same time eat as much sweets and do whatever they were doing. No, they have to be proactive, and this is the concept that you need to instill this concept. They are not at risk. They can do whatever you want. It is not your concern what other people who are never in drugs. This is not an interesting question.
Ya, jadi Bapak Ibu nanti jangan terjebak ya, karena begini, kalau nanti pasien berargumentasi, itu orang yang normal juga suka nongkrong dan sebagainya, kita tinggal bilang bahwa orang itu tidak punya risiko seperti kamu. Jadi sama saja tadi perbandingannya antara Marek dengan anaknya gitu loh. Kalau kamu punya risiko, jadi kita jangan terjebak pada argumentasi itu tadi.
Right, so this is how you build the argument why they have to be active. The second part is, the interesting question is, do you know anybody who is in a sustained recovery, who was, used drug user or had problems with alcohol or something, and now it's not. And now he's living normal life.
Ya, kita juga bisa bertanya pada si pecandu itu bahwa kamu tahu nggak, kenal nggak ada seorang pecandu yang bisa bertahan nggak pakai. Dulunya dia seorang pecandu, sekarang bertahan dia nggak pakai.
And most drug users will say, yeah, I know somebody like this, or I heard about it, or I saw it on TV, or whatever. And then you ask them, what do they do?
Ya.
Do you know what do they do?
Ya, kebanyakan dari pecandu akan mengatakan saya punya teman yang seperti itu yang bertahan. Ya. Nah, kemudian kita bertanya, biasanya apa tuh yang mereka lakukan?
And they're gonna tell you. So in essence, they can tell you what needs to happen in life. They can, and the story will be like this. Oh, they join a social welfare organization and became peer educators.
Ya,
Something like that. They are helping other people in preventing drug use. And they are very proud of this, like one of the guys was telling me.
Sebagai contoh, mamanya pasien kita bisa bilang bahwa oh teman saya yang bertahan bersih itu adalah dia melakukan aktivitas sosial dan sekarang menjadi peer educator, mamanya ya.
They pick up a hobby. They become, expert kite builders.
Atau dia bisa juga jawab, oh sekarang dia menyalurkan hobinya dan kemudian mengembangkan hobi tersebut menjadi pembuat layang-layang, ya, menjadi pembuat layang-layang.
They opened a small business that became, successful, and now they are growing. The business is growing. You don't need to tell me those stories, but you get the picture. You're going to get very easy answer.
Ya, jadi contoh yang lain, namanya ada juga pecandu yang bertahan itu karena dia buka bisnis dan bisnisnya berjalan. Jadi apapun lah contohnya, Bapak Ibu bisa dapatkan berbagai macam contoh itu dan bisa didiskusikan dengan pasien.
So I cannot give you you see the clear picture. I cannot give you a clear recipe. You need to tell your patient that he needs to sign up in the gym downtown Jakarta and start swimming regular. I don't know, maybe, but you know that.
Marek nggak bisa kasih resep ya. Apa sih aktivitas yang memang paling tepat? Namanya contohnya pergi ke gym, terus kemudian berenang dan sebagainya. Marek nggak tahu Jakarta, nggak tahu kebiasaan anak Jakarta. Jadi kita harus mencari tahu sendiri apa aktivitas alternatif lain.
This knowledge, what to do, will come very easily if you go into details. If you start talking like I talk to the patient, what do you do? Where do you live? How is your day? Where do you hang out? And all of this. You ask them to tell you about the friends. What, where, what resort. You have pictures. You have images. It's like a snap. Easy.
Kalau kita membahas langkah demi langkah secara detail, ya, apa yang akan dilakukan, bila mana dia lakukan, apa yang akan dilakukan satu persatu, nanti Bapak Ibu akan bisa membuat suatu gambar yang lebih jelas. Apa sebaiknya alternatif kegiatan apa yang bisa dilakukan sama dia untuk mengisi waktu luang.
If you talk, let me just finish and I'll let you. If you talk in general terms, oh, I'm depressed, oh, I have nothing to do, oh, this and that, then you don't, because you don't know. It's gonna be hard.
Ya, jadi kita jangan terjebak kalau dia ngomong saya depresi, saya nggak tahu apa yang dilakukan, saya bosan dan sebagainya. Kita pasti akan juga bingung nantinya.
Ya, saya mau nanya, kalau di kita ini kan kebanyakan pecandunya kan orang-orang yang nggak punya, orang-orang miskin. Nah, padahal kemudian itu kan dia perlu ini ya, mengisi waktunya. Kadang-kadang kita terjebak juga, misalnya, iya Bu, saya mau ini, tapi saya nggak punya kerja, saya kan nggak punya kenalan, itu gimana?
Sure. Let me give you an example. Yes, you will tell me that Indonesia is different. Yes, Indonesia is different. But I've been working in Malaysia, in China. Let me give you an example from China. There's not much difference, trust me. It's very similar, economically and otherwise. In the United States, I don't even go there.
Ceritanya Bapak Ibu mau meyakinkan pada Marek bahwa kita ini berbeda, Indonesia ini berbeda. Nah, Marek akan coba untuk menjelaskan bahwa di Malaysia dia punya pengalaman, juga di Cina dia punya pengalaman, dan dia bilang kepada kita bahwa di Cina itu tidak berbeda dengan kita.
So your patients will always have some big goal, and this big goal will be like, let's say, becoming rich, opening a restaurant.
Ya.
It's a real story.
Pecandu itu di mana-mana itu punya kecenderungan yang sama, yaitu selalu datang dengan rencana yang gede, umpamanya buka restoran, pengen cepet kaya.
So I had a patient in China who had this goal. Your goal would be to convert this big goal of opening a restaurant, making money and supporting yourself in this poor economy, and into a very easy small goal or step-by-step approach.
Ya, tugas kita adalah menerjemahkan tadi tujuannya gede tadi, pengen cepet kaya buka restoran tadi, menjadi suatu langkah demi langkah yang kecil saja dulu, yang sederhana. Ini kisah nyata di Cina ya,
So again, so we're running out of time. I'm going to say it very quickly. So the story goes like this: the guy wants to open a restaurant. I talking to him about details. I asked him why he's interested in. He likes to cook. He used to cook. When before he was using drugs, he cooked and he liked that, and he thinks that he can succeed because he has this very good recipe. His grandmother was making this dumplings, special dumplings, and they were very good. And he has a secret recipe, right? That he wants to build and open the restaurant. He can do it.
Ya, jadi Marek kemudian bertanya secara detail kepada dia. Sekali lagi mediasi detail. Kenapa sih kamu pengen membuka restoran? Dia bilang saya adalah seorang tukang masak yang oke, dan saya punya resep rahasia dari nenek saya yang pandai sekali membuat somai ya.
So again, to make the story short, rather than opening the restaurant, we contracted that tomorrow afternoon he's going to when he goes home, comes back from the clinic, rather than watching TV and playing lottery. In China, it's very popular, this public lottery that they constantly play, and hoping to win money so I can open a restaurant. This was his plan. When I asked him how are you going to open a restaurant, well, I play lottery, and I'm getting better. I'm watching, pretty soon I'm gonna score big, and this is how you get a picture.
Ya, jadi waktu Marek tanya, apa sih yang apa modal kamu? Karena kamu bikin restoran. Oh, saya akan main judi, ya, lotre, ya. Nanti kalau saya menang, nanti baru saya buka restoran. Kamu kok yakin dari mana? Kan sekarang saya lebih baik, saya nonton TV dan sebagainya. Jadi saya tahu ada tanda-tandanya ya. Apa sih namanya itu? Angkanya ya, angkanya yang bisa nongol untuk di lotre itu.
So rather than doing this tomorrow afternoon, you're going to look for your grandmother's recipe because he told me that he had it somewhere. So he lived in a house where there was a storage room, or there was a part of the house where the grandparents used to live that was still there. So the plan was that he's simply going to look for the recipe. Then he said, I know where it is, I just need to find it. So I said, yeah, very good plan. So we're gonna go and look for the recipe. Then when you find the recipe, you're going to make a list of ingredients, what you need, what goes into the recipe. And then because you are not using yuan methadone, you save 20 yuan, you're going to go to the market and buy the ingredients for enough food for yourself, just for yourself.
Ya, jadi Marek bilang jangan lakukan itu. Tadi tuh rencana awalnya si pasien ini, jadi dia mau lihat TV supaya kelihatan ada tandanya untuk beli lotre. Tolong jangan lakukan itu. Lakukan apa? Yaitu cari resep di mana resep nenek kamu itu. Kebetulan neneknya tinggal di satu rumah dengan dia, sehingga dia bisa cari itu. Jadi itu dilakukan. Kapan dilakukan? Segera setelah pulang dari sesi ini, konseling ini. Kemudian yang kedua adalah catat resepnya itu. Kemudian yang ketiga, karena kamu ada dalam metadon, kamu bisa menghemat sampai 21 yuan ya. Beli barang-barang apa yang diperlukan sesuai dengan itu. Terus yang keempat, masak untuk diri kamu sendiri.
Yeah, you cook it, you eat it, and you see whether it tastes good, whether you still can cook. This was the contract. And next week you come, we talk about it. I mean, we'll review the contract.
Jadi kontrak perilakunya untuk membahas masalah buka restoran tadi itu ke sana jadi larinya. Jadi setelah dimasak, makan, rasakan. Bagaimana itu rasanya? Sudah enak atau belum? Itu kontrak pertamanya, kontrak yang untuk itu.
If it's good, then I'm going to very fast forward. So next week we're gonna, because it was good. Next contract was tomorrow or the next day or whatever, Thursday. You're going to cook for your family. You're going now, so you work, you still cook, you find the recipe, you know how to do it. Now you're going to do the following. You're gonna go to the market and buy ingredients for 6 people. You're going to first set up, invite your family, prepare, and make make sure that you have everything on plan. You invite them, they eat. You ask them how whether they like
Kalau itu stabil, jadi dia sudah enak, mendapatkan rasa enak buat dirinya sendiri. Kontrak berikutnya adalah meminta kepada dia membuat resep yang sama, tapi untuk keluarganya, untuk orang lebih banyak. Jadi ada kontrak yang berikutnya, pergi ke pasar beli alat bumbu masak yang lebih banyak buat 6 orang dan tanya kepada anggota keluarga bagaimana rasanya. Itu kontrak berikutnya.
On the third week, if the family likes it, in China, probably the same here. In China, I see people. A single person will bring a chair on a small table on the sidewalk, and in the morning when people go to the street, they simply buy food on the way. Right, the same here, you know. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to, if you pass the family test, then you start selling it on the small scale. You get the picture. This is how you get to the restaurant business, not by winning the lottery.
Jadi pada perjanjian yang ketiga, pada sesi yang berikutnya adalah meminta kepada yang bersangkutan kalau memang rasanya oke buat keluarganya, dia beli lebih banyak. Dan di Cina itu biasa orang jual di pinggir jalan, sama seperti di sini kan, buka di meja kecil, kemudian taruh makanannya di situ dan lihat bagaimana reaksi orang. Jadi daripada kita mendukung dia untuk beli lotre yang tadi kan nggak benar. Ini yang harus dilakukan untuk supaya dia bisa membangun restorannya nanti.
Alright, you get the picture. Enough stories. Let's take a break because
lebih jelas ya Bapak Ibu kontrak dan
and
kontrak.
then you will ask me more questions and we'll talk about something and we make you ready to take your first patient next week.
Nah, jadi Bapak Marek mencoba untuk Bapak Ibu lebih siap menerima pasien yang pertama minggu depan.
Sequence of things that have to happen. Then we went to 1, 2, 3. Number 1 was treatment participation. Number 2, second goal, important goal. You know, if okay with this, you move on into the reduction, either abstinence or reduction of drug use, either not engaging in risks or reduction of risk. You know, anything related to drug use is the third area we just discussed. And then the third one is replacing the true substitution, replacing drug use activities with non-drug use activities, and I give you some examples so far.
Ya, jadi kita dari kemarin sudah membahas bahwa yang pertama di dalam masalah BDRC kita sudah akan melakukan beberapa rangkaian. Yang rangkaian pertama adalah partisipasi dia untuk datang tepat waktu kepada sesi konseling. Setelah itu sudah oke, kita masuk kepada persoalan yang semua berkaitan dengan masalah penggunaan narkoba, ya. Setelah itu oke, atau yang bukan hanya narkoba tapi juga perilaku berisiko lainnya, Kalau itu sudah oke, nah kita masuk kepada suatu rangkaian lain, yaitu aktivitas pengganti waktu luang akibat dia sudah stabil.
So after we take the drug away, take away from them the drugs, we need to give them something else. And the something else I cannot give you an exact recipe, but there are 3 general areas of the something else. And it's something fun to do, hobbies, sports, entertainment, something that you like to do, that occupies you, that's not drug related, not hanging out in the moon. I don't know what, but not hanging out.
Nah,
active doing.
Untuk yang tujuan ketiga ini,
waiting.
Untuk tujuan ketiga mengenai aktivitas pengganti dari perilaku penggunaan narkobanya itu, Marek menyarankan, mengharuskan malah bahwa merujuk kepada 3 hal, yaitu hobi, kemudian juga olahraga, kemudian tadi apa lupa. Ya, sesuatu hal yang berhubungan dengan ya hiburan lah ya, tapi bukan nongkrong, bukan jalan-jalan ke mall.
Then becoming independent, working part-time, full-time, casual, occasional, making money somehow. Helping other people, I don't know what, education, learning new skill, if not no work, then learning new skill, becoming proficient in computers, in anything, you know.
Yeah.
Employment, vocational, educational, general speaking, vocational, educational activities that lead to becoming independent, standing on your own feet eventually.
Ya, jadi yang berikutnya lagi tujuannya adalah membuat dia menjadi orang yang mandiri, ya. Bisa merupakan pekerjaan-pekerjaan yang sifatnya purna waktu, paruh waktu yang sifatnya formal, informal, apapun, asal dia bisa tegak di kaki sendiri, tentu saja bukan jualan ya, jualan barang maksudnya. Suatu hal yang sifatnya dia bisa tegak di kakinya sendiri.
The third general area of this doing something rather than drugs involves repairing the relationship with family. For example, you keep telling me that, family. Yeah, this is the time. When you're absolutely making progress, you want to repair relationship with your family.
Ya, isu ketiga dari tujuan terapi yang juga bisa dilakukan selain persoalan aktivitas waktu luang adalah isu mengenai hubungan pertemanan atau hubungan dengan keluarga atau dengan pasangan ya.
You want to spend more time with the family, I don't know, helping them, cooking for them, inviting them for dinner, like I give you, you know better what people do with families, going to the mosque together, going to the holiday, anything, I don't know, you know. But this is exactly family, working out, reworking, repairing, re-establishing family relationship and spending time, productive time, with family who do not use drugs. Not with the brother who use drugs, but with the family that does not use drugs.
Jadi kontrak berikutnya tadi setelah kita jadi yang ketiga tadi selain masalah aktivitas waktu luang tadi kembali lagi ditekan oleh Marek, kita bisa membina hubungan lagi. Jadi dia bisa mulai membina hubungan kembali dengan keluarga, dengan teman dan sebagainya, atau mungkin pergi ke masjid, pergi ke gereja atau apapun yang bisa dia lakukan untuk ya itulah waktunya setelah stabil dari dia datang tepat waktu dan juga masalah narkobanya sudah teratasi.
Third general area of this activity is finding new friends, right? They have, when you ask them about friends, they said, I don't have friends. I hang out with guys that used to do drugs, but they are not my friends. I'm alone right now. I'm alone. I don't have any friends. They need new friends. Otherwise, they're going to go back to the old friends. The guys who will be driving by and offering a ride, and they will take it unless they have new friends.
Ya, alternatif lainnya lagi untuk yang isu yang ketiga ini adalah membangun hubungan baru ya dengan teman ya yang tidak menggunakan narkoba ya.
Again, these new friends must be not drug using, not drug using new friends. And how a person finds new friends when everybody around is using drugs, right?
Ya, jadi membangun hubungan ini sekali lagi bukan dengan teman yang pengguna juga, nah, tapi mungkin bisa jadi mereka bilang gimana caranya ya, karena temannya semua pengguna.
Yeah, we ask them to move, relocate them to the area where. No, so yeah, this seemed like a problem because they are drug users, they are from neighborhood, and all of a sudden we're asking them to have rich, beautiful, non-drug using friends who living in a nice environment and do interesting things, right? Very difficult.
Ya, itu merupakan satu hal yang sulit memang bagi mereka yang memang dikelilingi oleh para pengguna narkoba, dan sulit bagi mereka untuk menemukan teman udah nggak pakai, kaya lagi gitu ya, susah.
So the best entry into finding new friends are people like them, people who are in sustained recovery, who used to be drug users, who will understand, but they are not. Where do you find people like that? In the United States, we have those movements, Narcotics Anonymous and whatever, social groups, social support groups, where they can relate to each other and maybe find another friend and slowly build, remove themselves from the environment and the influence of people who are actively using drugs.
Kalau di Amerika itu kita bisa mendorong pasien untuk mencari teman baru yang tidak menggunakan dengan meminta mereka datang ke suatu pertemuan yang disebut namanya Narcotics Anonymous, ya. Di mana mereka ketemu dengan orang-orang juga, tapi pengguna dulu, ya. Tapi sekarang dalam masa pemulihan. Nggak tahu kalau di sini gimana.
But you also find new friends via developing new activities. If you pick up a hobby and you go to you start playing soccer. You play with other guys, and then, they may be a little bit apprehensive originally, but you don't need to tell them that you're a drug user. That doesn't show it, not written on your face. And initially, after a while, you're gonna find some people who will accept you and your friends based on what you do, not who you are, but what you do with them.
Alternatif lain kalau memang susah mencari teman dengan melalui pertemuan narkotik anonimus adalah meminta mereka untuk menjalin pertemanan dengan orang-orang dalam aktivitas barunya. Kalau dia mau mengembangkan hobi baru, makanya main sepak bola dan sebagainya, ya dia bisa untuk menemukan teman baru. Kan teman baru ini tentu tidak tahu dia seorang pecandu kecuali dia membicarakannya, karena kan nggak tertulis di jidat ya, saya pecandu.
Even if you develop an activity that is solitary on the surface, like you have an aquarium, for fun, you set up an aquarium, you have tropical fish, and you start going to places where guys sell fish, maybe trade shows or something like this. I had a guy once who started racing pigeons, they're flying in the United States. And then he developed friendship with a lot of other guys who had various backgrounds. So this is how you get new friends, through activities.
Kadang pasien berdalil, saya kan cuma hobinya bikin akuarium ya, melihara ikan air tawar begitu ya. Terus gimana dong saya bisa bikin teman? Nah, kita bisa membantu dia mengatakan bahwa kan kamu membeli ikan itu pada penjualnya ya, kamu kan bisa berteman sama penjual. Nah, Marek punya pasien di mana di sana dia mencoba untuk menangkarkan burung merpati ya.
You get the picture. So this is, they do need new friends. And then, if this is accomplished, then your only work remaining is relapse prevention. Right now, you've done everything that you're supposed to do, and you just want them to maintain it. So there's this saying among drug users in our field that not using drugs is very easy, but becoming abstinent is easy. Maintaining abstinence, this is what's difficult. Anybody can stop using drugs eventually for 1 day or for 2 days, but they keep relapsing. This is the problem, relapses. So your almost last thing to do is relapse prevention.
Ya, jadi kalau 3 hal ini sudah tercapai, tadi datang teratur, kemudian masalah narkobanya teratasi, risiko perilaku teratasi, kemudian aktivitas waktu luang hubungan pertemanan sudah tercapai, maka sisa pertemuan konseling yang berikutnya adalah membahas mengenai pencegahan kambuh. Sebab bagi seorang pecandu mencapai kondisi yang clean, yang abstinen itu gampang, tetapi memeliharanya itu susah. Jadi yang pertemuan mungkin sekitar pertemuan 12, 15, 26 dan sebagainya itu semuanya tentang pencegahan kambuh.
In our clinic we have a peer support group. Is it okay if we suggest them to get involved in the group? Because I think there are also methadone users and we can't guarantee any of them really still using drugs. Is it risky or not?
Ya, jadi Bu Vivi tanya, kan di tempat kita ada KDS ya. KDS itu, nah semuanya pecandu tuh pengguna metadon. Kita juga nggak tahu itu berisiko atau enggak. Bisa nggak kita saranin?
So I use referrals to Narcotic Anonymous or this peer support groups very often, and it is a sort of double-edged sword because the other guys are also in unstable recovery. Some of them may be using and etc. They may start talking about drugs and this may be triggers. Yes, this is all true.
Ya, jadi Marek memang sering memberikan rujukan ya, saran kepada pasiennya untuk datang ke Narcotic Anonymous atau support group seperti yang ada di sini. Dan ini memang memberikan suatu kemungkinan bahwa dia ketemu lagi dengan orang yang tidak stabil dan kemudian kembali lagi pakai dan sebagainya.
And this is why you want to do this while they are with you, not after you let them go, because this is a perfect opportunity to have a sort of predictable situation where problems will arise. And then you are handling them appropriately. You're developing, rather than avoiding them, you're developing skills how to deal with the situation like that. Somebody starts talking about using, or somebody keeps pushing you into using drugs. How do you handle these people? And these people are much easier to handle now, and you develop skills via contracting and etc. Everything that we learn how to handle this, and you go and keep practicing. This is a perfect practice opportunity, even if the concept itself is imperfect.
Ya, jadi memang rujukan besar tadi membawa resiko. Tapi jangan takut, jangan dihindari. Silakan saja Bapak Ibu meminta mereka join dengan KDS. Justru itu menjadi kesempatan buat kita untuk mengembangkan kontrak perilaku yang berikutnya. Bagaimana caranya dia tetap ikut dalam program tersebut, tetapi bisa bertahan dari godaan-godaan temannya dan sebagainya. Di situ kita mengembangkan langkah demi langkah ya.
So you cannot hide all the syringes from drug users, right? You cannot hide them simply. So one strategy is avoiding triggers, which is a good strategy. You can avoid situations that obviously going to lead to drug use. You need to avoid, refuse friends who are using drugs, who are offering you drugs. But you cannot avoid something like that, seeing a syringe, or watching a movie where somebody starts using talking about drugs, or talking to somebody who starts talking drugs, and etc. These things are not avoidable. So rather than avoiding them, you use them to develop skills how you handle this side of syringe. What do you do in order for this not to become triggered?
Ya, jadi menurut Marek bahwa kita akan bilang kepada pasien kita bahwa seringkali ada banyak hal yang tidak bisa kita hindari ya. Seperti mamanya nonton TV, nonton film, katanya filmnya menggambarkan tentang bagaimana orang pakai. Atau ketemu melihat jarum dan sebagainya. Itu sesuatu yang tidak bisa dihindari. Tetapi menghindari teman yang menawarkan kamu pakai itu bisa dilakukan. Nah, jadi yang harus kita lakukan adalah mengembangkan kontrak perilaku yang berkaitan dengan bagaimana caranya ketika kita terpaksa melihat ini, tetapi itu tidak menjadikan atau kamu bisa mengendalikan pengenan pakai, suges kamu, trigger kamu.
And these peer support groups are perfect examples of opportunities where you can work it out. So, but you do not send them unprepared. You don't. This is important now. If you do something like this, prepare them. Don't tell them just go and see what's going to happen, because I can tell you what's going to happen.
Ya, jadi jangan kita terus langsung tidak ingin mengirim dia ke KDS, tetap dikirim ke KDS, tetap dirujuk, tapi persiapkan mereka. Sebagaimana yang contoh kemarin ya, kita persiapkan. Kalau tidak dipersiapkan, Marek bisa menjamin apa yang akan terjadi pada mereka. Bisa dijamin. Kalau tidak dipersiapkan.
I'm going to tell you what I did recently, or I do very often. I had this discussion. I said, I said, perhaps we should think about you joining NA group. And they say, I don't like, because they just talk about drugs, and this made me angry, and then I want to use, and etc. And I turned around and said, look, this may be a perfect opportunity for us to learn, for you to learn something in practice. Let's talk about it a little bit more.
Ya, ada pasiennya Marek tuh waktu Marek bilang ya sudah rasanya bagus juga buat kamu untuk pergi ke NA, Narcotic Anonymous. Pasiennya nolak, dia bilang itu bukan tempat yang bagus. Mereka selalu ngomongin masalah narkoba itu jadi bikin saya jadi marah, pengen pakai. Oleh Marek itu dirubah, dibilang itu justru merupakan suatu kesempatan yang bagus buat kita kerja ya, melatih diri dan sebagainya.
And then I'm going to make a very short story because we're running out of time. So I'm compressing a lot of information. But I will send them out to a next meeting with a contract and a task. The task will be going to go to this particular meeting, and we work how and when and etc. And when you show up, this is what you're going to say. Depending on whether this is methadone friendly or not, we do different introductions. We practice, so he doesn't show up and then they bombard him with the questions and it's all unexpected. We prepare. He comes with a script, like this is what you did. I prepare you. I told you this is what you're gonna do, and this is what I do with my patient. We go there, and this is what you're going to say, and this is what you're going to do, and that's your task.
Ya. Jadi seorang pasien kita nanti kalau kita rujuk dia untuk ikut ke KDS dan sebagainya, kita buat dalam kontrak perilaku kapan itu akan dilakukan, dan pada saat dia berada di tempat itu apa yang harus dia katakan pada temannya, bila mana begini, bila mana begitu dan sebagainya. Jadi kita bekali dia dengan suatu skenario ya, skrip itu apa ya? Ya nggak cocok juga kalau naskah ya. Suatu teknik ya, strategi. Jadi dia tahu apa yang akan dilakukan kalau dia
step by step plan script. So, for example, again, it's an example. You go there and you tell them that you are considering joining things like this, and you want to learn what's going on in groups like this, and you came to observe. You're not going to be sharing anything today, and you just wanted to see, what's going on, and you ask them whether this is okay for you to just sit here.
Yeah.
Right?
Ya, contohnya adalah dalam mengembangkan itu langkah demi langkah apa yang dilakukan pada saat dia join kepada suatu pertemuan NE namanya, dia bisa bilang kepada teman-temannya di situ bahwa dia datang ke sana tidak untuk ikut, tetapi hanya untuk mengobservasi apakah itu diperbolehkan oleh teman-temannya yang ada di situ.
You're not signing up, you're not becoming a member, you're not making any commitment, you're just asking them whether it's okay for you to see. And if they say no, you have to sign up, you're going to leave. Because we don't want you to make a commitment, long-term commitment. We don't want you to expose you to potential risk. You want to be in charge. Not them, you. You go and you set the terms. If they accept it, you stay. If no, you leave.
Kalau ternyata waktu dia bilang bahwa saya hanya ingin menjadi observer saja tidak diterima oleh kelompok, maka kita bilang bahwa di dalam kontrak itu tadi bahwa pergi tinggalkan sana. Karena apa? Kita tidak ingin juga memaparkan pasien kita dalam suatu risiko yang berkepanjangan ya, karena dia belum sepenuhnya siap.